You're listening to Some Roses Are Red, presented by 79.7. Thanks for joining us again. This is Jonathan of Some Roses Are Red, and in today's studio we have, for another one of our holiday editions for 2019, we have Johnnie Johnson and Richard Johnson, also known as my mom and Richard. I just call him Richard. So I've been knowing, again, my mother for the entirety of my life, and Richard I've been knowing for a good portion of my life. But for those who don't know them, just have a couple questions to get you acclimated to the two and familiar with them. So the first question again is, how long have you known one another?
Known each other for 18 years.
That's right.
Okay, 18 years, and my mother agrees, so that's good. And the second part of that question here is, how long have you two been married? Since I know that you guys are married and have been married for quite some time.
This year will be 9 years.
This year will be 9 years. And what's the one thing, if you had to say, that's been the most different from the time that you've known each other as friends to, I don't know if you can call it boyfriend and girlfriend, or dating, as a couple, until the time you got married. So what's the biggest noticeable difference? Either really one or both. No difference.
Maybe how much we getting used to each other now.
Getting used to each other. Yeah. Okay. Ma?
We're alike in a lot of ways that we didn't know.
Such as?
I think his sense of humor is quirky, but I'm also quirky in a different kind of way.
Okay. Quirky how? What do you mean?
Like, he'll laugh at things that's not funny to other people, but now since I've been with him, so will I.
Okay, so in terms of humor, you come to a consensus to agree on a general humor for both of you, as opposed to not necessarily finding them funny.
Sometimes in a bad way, though. Yeah. In
a bad way? Okay. Okay. So,
like, for instance, when we were on our way here, we were like in heavy traffic. It was a lot of traffic, and so somebody cut us off, and they had a raggedy car, and he said it, but I thought it.
Mm-hmm. That the car was raggedy?
Yeah, it's like with your raggedy Ford Pinto.
Oh, okay.
But
so
that's not really the car. I'm just using it as an analogy. So
just because they're driving poorly, all of a sudden their car is terrible too.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, this is the holiday edition for 2019. So just have a couple questions related to the holidays time. So that's going to include Thanksgiving, which we know has passed. That'll include Christmas, which we also know has passed, and New Year's, which was actually today is New Year's Day 2019. So Happy New Year to both of you.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Let's see. So let's say for our holiday edition, let's start, since it does begin at Thanksgiving, not including Halloween as part of the holiday time of year. So over the last year, the last 365 days, and you can answer individually or collectively, either one I'm cool with. Over the last 365 days of 2018, what would you say that you've been the most thankful for? Now, I do have 4 caveats with that. The first one I'd like to ask is, what have you been the most thankful for personally? So within your personal space, within who you are, the last 365, what would you say that you are the most thankful for personally?
Me, I'm thankful for my health, because it was kind of rough at the beginning, but at the end of the year, I was starting to feel a lot better. I had problems with my knees, elbows, just joint pain, but it's getting a whole lot better now.
Okay.
Ironically, he stole my answer.
Well, he didn't steal your pain, so I mean,
yeah.
You can give that to him, or he can give his to you.
Because he had none when I met him, so
okay.
I passed it on gladly.
Well, that's a generous couple, giving each other knees and back pain.
I want you to feel what I feel.
Right. So personally, what have you thankful for?
I am most thankful for life. I am most thankful for health. So it will be one and the same. My health is better, so it makes my life better.
Okay. So when you say your health is better, that makes your life better. What part of your life would you say that the health was the most impactful on? The poor health, or the
poor
less
health
than stellar
was,
health?
I had problems breathing.
Okay.
And for over a year, I have not taken any of the steroids and medicine that they prescribed to me at the hospital. I was in an induced coma for several days, in the hospital for 5 days because of my low oxygen level. But I believe in a faithful God, and I believe in faith. And so I prayed, and I've not been medicated, but I've been 100% better than I was.
Okay. Can you attribute that to the relationship and the strength that you have found in one another to get your health back on track?
I can't say that much that he did anything for my health, but he is very helpful when it comes to anything that I need. So if I needed anything, if I needed air or something, he would make sure that my air was pure by getting a dehumidifier or humidifier or whatever. So very caring about my health.
Okay, well that's a plus. A lot of people don't have that. They have relationships where the other person could just be waiting for you to check out.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons here. Now, on that same question over the last 365, like I said, it's 4 different caveats there. The first one you guys answered. Thank you very much for about what you have been most thankful for personally over the last 365. The second part of that question, and I was stumbling over myself here. The second part of that question over the last year, 365 again, what have you been the most thankful for professionally? Now, professionally for me is normally the one that I don't have something that I'm most thankful for because I work a job because I have to, not because I like to. So for either one of you or both of you, what have you been the most thankful for the last 365 days in regard to your professional career, your 9 to 5, 12 to 8, whatever your hours may be?
Right. I am a secretary, and so I have multiple jobs. So I am thankful for the job as a whole. But like you said, if I didn't have to work, that would be a great thing, because I came into the situation with one clerical and 2 secretaries. I was one of which they said they didn't have any more funding, so now I have 4 jobs. So I'm thankful for the job, but I'm not thankful for the volume of the job that I have.
Okay. And Richard?
I'm thankful for because I'm a school security guard, but I'm working at the school board, so that's a kind of a big step up from being in the schools.
Oh yeah.
Working with I always work with teacher, principals, and the kids all in the schools, but now we work with different organizations within the school board, and I'm getting recognized. They always come in, and I greet them, and they greet me, and they get to know me a lot better. So that's a big plus right there.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I know if working in the school, you have to deal with a lot more, we'll call it hands-on interactions with the staff. Right. Yeah. With the staff there. Now, being in the central office, which is basically the executive branch of MPS, Milwaukee Public Schools, in our area here, do you find yourself having to get more hands-on with those people, or is it more executive type resolutions that you have to be involved in?
It's like more executive type resolutions, and plus it's not as much hands-on as it used to be. It's more verbal. You're just knowing how to calm down the people and get to talk to them, and they start to listen, then they'll calm down, and we resolve a whole lot of issues that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, do you think the problems with the knees and the back came because you're not being physical as much as you once were, where your body would be in tip-top shape? Now your body's all relaxed and don't know what to do, so it just start falling in on itself?
No, well, I don't know, because it's like I'm always moving when I'm there at the school board, but it's like you don't forget what you've been taught.
Right.
So I'll put it that way.
So if something were to happen again, the knees and the back and everything would get right in line.
Right in line, and go right back into the action.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. All right, good. So we hit 2 of the 4 questions here. We hit the personal and we hit the professionally here. The third part of that same question over the last year, what have you been the most thankful for? The third part is in your immediate family. So within your 4 walls, the people you wake up to each and every day, the people that you're probably the most familiar with on a regular basis. What are you the most thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful for just waking up and seeing each other every morning. That way we could go ahead and go about our day, have fun with each other, crack on each other.
Okay. Okay. Mom?
I guess mine would be for more than just within my home, because it's just Richard and I.
Yeah.
Mine would be my extension, which would be you and your brother and all of my grandchildren. The oldest one is in Florida, but I keep in touch with him through text, text, cards, mail, and that makes me very fulfilled. One of the things that people know about me, and that's anybody who meets me for any length of time, is that I love my family. I love them without measure, and so people see that a lot. And so I think that is one of the things that I reach out to people to let them know that I really love my family. And I'm grateful because within my family, God has spared our lives over and over again, because the world is getting so violent, and just daily, people are dying. And so I'm grateful that nobody in my immediate family has passed away or has had any sicknesses unto death. And that's one thing I'm grateful for.
Okay. Well, you kind of jumped my question here. The next part of that question,
Sorry.
of course, was no. That's okay, because I was gonna start with you anyway, so it works out. So the fourth part of that question, over the last year, what have you been the most thankful for, was going to be in your extended family. So that'd be your in-laws, pretty much anyone outside of your four walls that you are still connected to via blood or close relationship or just time. So since you answered that part of the question, I'll start with Richard there. So over the last 365 days of 2018, what have you been the most thankful for in your extended family? Now we'll call friends part of that family if they've been around for a good portion of time.
I'm real thankful for my friends and family. Right now it's just basically just me up here.
Oh,
My family is either Alabama, Louisiana, and but I always keep in contact much as I can, and they're always getting in contact with me.
And then we got a chance to go and see your sister.
Yes, we did.
As
And,
a surprise.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We did a surprise trip to Alabama
Oh, that's
to
nice.
see his sister, and she was ecstatic. And,
Yeah.
and it's been she had a lot of health issues in past years, and so it was beautiful to see the interaction between them. I mean, I hear them on the phone and I talk to them, but it was nothing like seeing it in person.
Yeah. I wish we could have stayed a little longer, but a couple hours, that was a lifetime for me.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good. So you're from Louisiana originally, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, so out of all the time that you've been up here in Milwaukee, what's the one thing you miss during the holiday season about being back in we'll say Louisiana
The weather.
area?
Yeah, that's really it, the weather, and I miss the family down there, because when you're down there for Christmas in Louisiana, you'll hear maybe 50. So we still in t-shirts and shorts. So,
Yeah.
love the weather down there, but always seeing the family, because everybody in my family loves to cook, and it's just like, that's a good 20, 30 pounds right there.
Ah, see,
This
20,
evening.
30?
that's comfort weight though. That's good weight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good here. So, along that same vein here, we're off to our third question of the series here. I don't usually name off the number of questions because as we're talking here, I may be inspired to ask another question, or you may end up down a tangent. So there's no restriction really on the number of questions that we ask. And because it is my studio, I can ask a million if I want to, and we can cut it out or do whatever we need to do here. So our next set of questions here is going to be pushing a little bit forward. We got past the thankful section. Not that you aren't thankful any other day of the year or even at Christmas time, but getting us a little bit closer to the new year and a couple of the New Year's questions here. So this one is a Christmas question for you, and this is for both of you individually and collectively. What would you say was your best childhood memory? Now that could be the best as in your favorite or the most memorable one that you have from your childhood in regard to Christmas.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was real young then. maybe about 10 and 12, just with my family. And at the time, my mother and father was together.
Okay.
And so that was, and we had everybody in the same house. So
Oh, wow.
so it's about 9 or 10 of us in the same house, but we always had a good Christmas.
Okay.
them. Yeah.
Okay,
Until-
what's the biggest memory, or is just being together?
Just being together.
Okay. Okay. And Mom, your best Christmas memory?
My best Christmas memory is when I had children.
Mm-hmm.
So, not that I had bad Christmases, because we had great Christmases with my mom and dad, and from the church and everything. But it was nothing like when I saw my own children be elated about the gifts that they got. I know I got some flack about, no non-name brand gifts, but it was still my favorite time to see the awe and the happiness of my children, and then to follow that was my grandchildren. So I have always been proud to see the joy that they have. Now it's getting a little less because everybody seems like, oh, it's not a big deal. But those were the times that were most memorable for me.
Okay. So that covered the adult portion of your life. What about as a child? What was the most memorable Christmas that you had as a child? That's under the age of 21.
Ooh, that was a long time ago, Jonathan.
That's why it has to be a memorable one.
Yeah, it really does. I guess it would always be, because my brother and I are very close. Even though I have a sister, she just wasn't into toys. My brother got all of the G.I. Joes with the real hair and the action, and I got all the Barbies. And so we had a Barbie G.I. Joe festival, because everything that we asked for that particular Christmas we got. So I want to say like we were like 11 me and 9 my brother.
Okay, so Richard, since you answered the childhood portion here, so let's cover you after the age of 21. What was your best Christmas memory?
It better be me. No.
Well,
You
no,
know what?
he didn't say best person. He said
No.
Christmas memory.
I gave him he never had a Christmas like I gave him before 1 year. So he might not have to say that, but I just.
Oh, so that was your best memory for him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Actually, I agree, because my best Christmas was with her, because when I was by myself before her, I don't remember any Christmas at all. So
Oh man. Well,
I was
guess-
always, well, put it this way, I was always at the club on Christmas Day. So it was like,
So not necessarily making lasting memories, just basically out doing something.
right.
Right. And I knew it was touching because he cried.
You ain't got to tell the man business.
No, I want people to know that.
Well,
that-
maybe he don't want people to know.
I want him to remember that.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a touching moment that he admitted to, at least. Okay.
Right.
All right. So, okay, along that same vein, and this could be from childhood or adulthood, what was the worst gift you ever received from any person? That could be even at a job potluck or something. The worst gift you ever got, and as a side piece on that one, what did you end up doing with that gift?
Okay, I can say the worst gift I got. That's why I have a problem doing gift exchange, because the worst gift I ever got, we had to spend no more than $15. So from $5 to $15 on an individual. And I got knitted socks, wool socks, and I did not like that. And so the next time I went to a party, they had a white, what they call a white elephant, and that's when you take your gifts and you pass them around.
Okay.
And I passed that around until I couldn't see it anymore.
Now I'll interrupt here. I know the worst gift that I remember getting, since this is my mom. I remember, and I still, for the life of me, don't remember why I got that. Even at the time, I got my mother. It was flashcards and something else stupid, but I don't remember why I got. It was flashcards. It still bugs me. I'm like, why did you get that? And I don't remember. I got it from somewhere. I didn't buy it or nothing. But it was.
We went to Salvation Army.
That might have been.
Yeah.
I don't know why, or maybe it was probably just being selfish. I wanted to learn something. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. But not to interrupt you, Richard. So what was your worst gift that you ever received, and what did you end up doing with it?
Well, my worst gift was just last Christmas. I'm not gonna talk about that, but I'll talk about the one I got before.
Oh,
It was a necktie that I got one Christmas. Mm-hmm. It was for me and your mom got together, and it was a big old tie, lime green, with a bunch of sailboats on it. And
Do you sail though, Rich?
No, I don't. Haven't been near water.
yes.
So I was being nice. I wore it one time. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden it just disappeared. I don't know where it went. Hint, hint.
So a giant lime green sailboat tie. And of course, there are no coasts around the city of Milwaukee unless you count Lake Michigan, and that's not necessarily a coast. And he's not a boating person in general, nor does he own a boat. So that seems like that was a little bit of a miss there on that gift there. That would chalk up to one of the worst gifts that you can have. Does that include holiday parties and all that as well too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what. Okay, so that's the worst one by far. Okay, so we'll switch to the other side of that coin. What's the best gift you ever received? And this one, we'll also ask what you did with it and who gave it to you, if you can remember.
Oh, with me?
Either one.
I got a beautiful watch for Christmas. Yeah, it was from my wife, Johnnie.
Oh, so made up for it.
Yeah, so this was... Oh, wow. This watch has to be about 15 years old now. And it's still going. I always,
oh, wow.
Every once in a while, I pick it up and...
Timex.
Yep.
Okay. Have you had to change the battery in it yet?
I changed it one time.
In 15 years?
Yep.
Wow. That's
and
a
I
good watch.
kind of hurt.
Keep on tipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hurt because I wore it one time when I was working in the school. And cracked their face a little bit. So, but it's still going.
That's a good gift.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mom, your best gift that you received, and if you remember who gave it to you and what you end up doing with it.
So was it in my childhood or was it?
This is throughout your whole life. This one is the absolute best gift. So if you have a top three, you can name those.
Okay, then I have top three.
Top three.
Okay. My mom and dad gave me a full length leather, well, I should say lamb coat. And at that time when they gave it to me, that was like, we're talking like the 70s.
Okay.
And usually my mom and dad always bought us coats, and you get a wool coat. You know you're going to get a wool coat. And this year I got a full length coat with lamb on the inside, and that was like the best coat. Needless to say that somebody stole it.
Oh, wow.
I put it in the cleaners. It was a specialty, you had to get a specialty cleaning.
Yeah.
I put it in the cleaners, and they lost it, and they paid my mom and dad $300 for it, but it was a $900 coat that my mom and dad actually got for $300. So,
okay.
I mean, but it was one of the best gifts that my parents ever bought, because they were very practical when it came to gifts, because we had three of us. I want to say Richard always gives me good gifts anyway, just as a GP, but one year he gave me I asked for that's when Wii was
what?
very popular. Wii game.
I thought you said weed. Okay.
Oh no, you didn't think your mom said that.
Well, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
live with you.
No, but you know me better than that. Okay. No, it was a Wii game, and I wanted that so bad. And I mentioned that to Richard, and Richard got that for me. Another year, I was just being funny. We were watching the QVC channel, and I said, I sure would like to have that iPad. Not only did he buy the iPad, but it came because it was a QVC special
like
gift
bundle?
for Christmas. Bundle, yeah.
Okay.
I got bundle, so I got a thing for a carrying case and a keyboard and everything. Also purchased by Richard.
Okay.
So some of the best gifts I got in the later years came from Richard.
Okay.
Mostly is what I can remember. Not that they're the only gifts, but since you gave me a three
Yeah, you got three.
Three favorite lemons.
You named two. You named the
I
lamb,
named three.
the lamb coat, and the iPad.
Yeah, but
And the Wii.
The Wii.
And the Wii. I'm sorry. I focused on the iPad because it had the bundle gift.
Yeah.
So what did you end up doing with the Wii?
I still have it. I love to play it, but my house is very. I have quite a few things in there, and so where it's attached to, it's no longer a place for it. A port.
Okay.
So it's still sitting there.
Okay.
But
So
it's just not being used.
okay. That's a pretty good gift list you both have there. And that moves us down the road here a little bit further to our next question here. This one is also a kind of a Christmas question, but I'll branch it out. You can make it not just at Christmas time. So this one is, who was the hardest person you ever had to buy a gift for? And of course, the second part of that question is, what did you eventually buy that person?
The hardest person I ever had to buy a gift ever is Jonathan Laws,
How so?
because he's picky and he'll put your stuff in a closet, in the back of a closet, and you never know, and you wonder why you never see it. So Jonathan would be my most difficult person to buy a gift for. Most people, when I buy them something, they're like, it's just what I wanted, and I see it. But usually when I buy Jonathan a gift, right, except for, I want to say the last 2 years maybe, I've seen it. But usually when I buy Jonathan a gift, I never see it again. It's a reason for that. I don't know what it is, but I do pretty bad, I guess, when it comes to Jonathan.
Well, in my defense, and I said this on the previous podcast with Erica and Delvis Malone, the difficulty in buying gifts for me is because whenever I want something, generally if it's on my mind, I'm going to buy it within the next couple of days. I don't let things dwell that long. So if it's something I love, I'm probably going to have it by the time I tell you about it. So the only way to defeat that is to either be in my mind or catch me before I can get paid or before I can get my hand on some money to buy whatever thing. It's a problem I'm working on. I'm getting better at it. But I will say
the last 2 years.
I will say in my defense, I am wearing a full pajama outfit that I did receive from my mother. So there we go.
Yep.
And now, Richard, who was the hardest person you ever had to buy a gift for, and what did you eventually buy that person?
Well, it was really hard, but now it's getting harder because it's for shopping for Johnny.
Oh.
Because now I'm kind of, because like she said, whatever she wanted, I try to give it for her. I try to think of gifts for her. Now it's just, every time I try to think of something else to get her, 9 times out of 10, she already got it. So it's like, it's getting harder to try to find stuff for her.
So tell him what your solution is.
Okay.
He gives me a catalog.
Okay.
And I check as many things as I want in the catalog. And he chooses
That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
what he wants. And I always get
Something that you want. Okay.
one of the things that's in there. Or one or more.
Okay, so that will
That's what
definitely
we've been
go.
doing the last couple of years. So that's been worked out pretty good.
Okay, that's going to my list of things to do. Valencia doesn't really. She wants really nothing. I always ask her, were you like an orphan or something? Because you grow up and she'll want like, I just want clean feet. I'm like, what are you talking about? Wash my feet or something, like something simple like just fresh corn or something. I'm like, that you can get that any time of the day. Well, give me a real gift. So I have, as of lately, I've been forcing her to get a real gift, but I know that Eli and the baby who shall be named, little lady face, we'll call her now. I imagine that they will have definitive taste, and maybe I could buy for them, and that'll convince Valencia to make up a list or something, so she can stop getting pencils and pens.
Suggestion.
What's that?
Listen during the year.
That's where I got the corn from. That's throughout the year. She wants not like the things she asks for in a year I could write down on my finger. Okay. She will never ask, even if she needs it, she will never ask for it. So the job for me is always reconnaissance. What do you need? What do you want? So I find myself walking around the house just looking at stuff. What's broken? What's old? What's faded? And trying to replace stuff that way. Yeah. But I guess it could be worse. So, hey. All right. So the next part of the question here, we're going, of course, into the section of our holiday season into the new year here. And the question I have for one or both of you, well, actually for both of you, we'll make it for both of you here. If you could talk to yourself from 365 days ago at the beginning of your 2018 with the information that you've gained about 2018 from having lived through it, what would you say to yourself, that person who's just about to enter 2018, now that you've gone through it? What do you say to that person?
I would say pay attention to everything, because some things that happened could have been prevented, but I wasn't paying attention. And so actually I was more attentive later in the year going forward, because I'm a very attentive person. People say all the time I'm in the wrong line of work, and they've been telling me this like for over 20 years. I should be like in investigation and things like that. But I need to pay attention, because sometimes you get lackadaisical. You know how you just say, oh, it's gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen, and there's a reason for that. And I found that if I pay attention to things, you know, like be vigilant in keeping, you know, that going. Always pay attention.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And on my end, it's more being more attentive as part of the maintenance part of everything that's going on, because everything going on with the house and the cars and everything, it's like if I would have known beforehand, I could have got that done right away instead of this way to make the matters worse. Yes.
Okay. So another portion of that question would be, now let's say you were able to talk to yourself from last year, from 365. Do you believe the you from 2018 would actually listen to the advice that you have?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
You wouldn't? How so, or why?
Because it was a wise decision, and once I actually did what I knew to do, it worked out better.
Okay, so if you had a chance to tell yourself at that point, you think you received that openly?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, and Richard?
I agree also.
Okay, you would receive that information?
Yes.
The funny thing, a lot of the podcasters, had a friend of mine who was like, I know for sure I wouldn't listen. Like, he wouldn't listen to himself. He said, I just know how I am. I'm very skeptical of any information. So even coming from me from a year, I probably still wouldn't want to listen and find out. I always thought that was pretty interesting here. So our next question here is still along the line of I guess you could say New Year's question here. What plans, if you will, and I know that the old adage is man makes plans and God laughs. What plans would you say that you tentatively have for 2019? What would you like to have accomplished? And you can cover any number of scenarios, personally, professionally, what have you. What plans would you say you have for 2019?
To keep, well, one of the things we both like to do is travel. So like to keep doing that. We already have our plans in place for our spring break. So that will be one of the things. And I guess going forward, what do you think?
Just keeping our
like our travel marriage,
plans.
I guess too. Working on our marriage.
Yeah, working on the marriage.
It's a work in progress, because a lot of things he likes to do, I don't particularly like to do. A lot of things I like to do, he doesn't particularly like to do. So we need to work on that. Not that we're going to always be doing everything that the other one wants, but that we could do it better and more, and that the Lord will continue to bless everything about our marriage, because it's not something that people thought would last, because we're so different.
Okay.
And mainly just keeping each other healthy. So that's the main thing now.
Okay. Yeah. Staying healthy and keeping healthy. Yeah. Now, since we're on the line of talking goals here, the goals that you may or may not have set for 2018, of those goals, are there still some that you think you're going to bring into 2019, or you think you've eliminated most of the ones that aren't effective and are going to go with new ones?
No, I don't make New Year's resolutions, but I am going to do better about my health. We have started to make some changes. We got a oven. What is that?
Air fryer.
Air fryer.
And that has been an amazing change in the way we eat because we both work and we work a lot of hours and a lot of days. We don't have time. So what we do we either go by a drive-through window or we come home, and Richard is the cook in our house, and so he'll make something fried, which is fast because we're getting home late. We don't want to eat before we go to bed, late and have that food just sitting on us. So this has been a great change in 2018. We got it actually in November.
Okay.
And so just from November to now, we've had so many meals from that were more healthy, and we're trying to do better about health. Because we both in our family line have people with great health issues, diabetes and high blood pressure and just to name a number of things that would also take away some of that inflammation that we both have, like he was talking about his elbows and knees and things like that.
Right.
So just to do better that way, not that we're going to be perfect about it, but we're going to do better as far as getting out and taking better care of our health.
Okay. So would you say that using the air fryer is more convenient than the way you had previously been making meals? Because you said it's a little faster here, but is it more convenient to make you stick with it, or is it just about the same?
Yes, because we've had a number of things that some of the things that we've had, we would have never tried them except for now we have the air fryer, and so it's just a healthier way. Even though I'm not trying to do a promotion for them,
right?
It's a healthier way, and it's already evident in just several months.
Okay, that's going to be the next portion of my question. There, can you feel a difference in the different way that the food is being prepared for you, like health wise?
Yes, because I suffer from acid reflux.
Okay,
really bad, and so with it being less fried, I don't suffer as much.
Okay.
I still do stuff that I shouldn't, but not as much.
Okay, Richard.
Let's see, with me, with most fried foods, the salt intake, it swells me up real bad.
Yeah.
Like ever since I've been using that, I don't swell up as much as I used to.
Okay.
Cause that would be flare up like every couple of weeks, and I've been good for ever since I've been using that.
Okay, like you said, we're not doing an endorsement for an air fryer. However, if there is an air fryer company out there looking for a product sponsor, I am glad to step in and fill that void. I could use your promotional dollars. So, if you had to say, what was over the last 365 again? What was the one thing that the other person may have done for you to help you meet your goals or to help you push you forward? So how have they been the most motivational in regard to any endeavor you've tried in 2018? What would you say has been the most impactful thing your partner has done or said to keep you motivated, to keep you pushing forward?
Well, I'll say that I am a person who believes in the power of prayer, because I believe that there's a God who answers prayer, and so for that, I would say that I would put prayer into effect for my mate and my family and so have you. So I would say that has a lot to do with the way.
I agree. The way that we
because
come together now. And I always love her, so I always keep her in prayer.
Okay.
And I think that helps a lot because some things we don't talk out because a lot of times we don't want to offend one another, and so we pray about it, and that is very helpful. Even though a lot of people don't believe that prayer works, it really does work, because sometimes you can't say the things that you need to say, or you can't change the things that you want changed, and you can't make anybody, it's a free will thing. You can't make anybody do what they don't want to do. And I don't care what you do. I'm going to change that person. You're not going to change that person. It's just, you're just not. So the best thing is just always to keep prayer in the forefront for me personally. I'm just speaking for me personally, because I know that it helps. I know that it's nothing greater than it. I could go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, and I could pay money to a psychic, but it's nothing like the power of prayer that changes things, that makes things better, that helps with relationships and helps people as a whole.
Okay, Richard.
Okay.
Ditto.
Well, like I said, yeah, most of the time, ditto. And it's also, like I said, keep love in there, keep prayer in there. But mainly it's with me and Johnny, it's like they always say, laughter is the best medicine. So that's why I'm always goofy.
Yeah.
And telling jokes, keep her laughing and keep her going. So
this is just a little inside thing on our marriage. But one of the things he always says to me is, I should have read the small print.
Oh, okay.
He says that, and that cracks me up because sometimes I feel like that. So I have days like, yeah, me too. But it's a joke. We don't mean it in any harmful way. We just said just to bring each other back to, oh yeah, remember the vow. So it's not to say, oh yeah, you're cray cray, and it's not like that at all. It's just to bring us back to the vows that we took, that we said that we would love, honor, respect, protect,
all that fun stuff. Okay, Richard Pryor did say that when he was in jail, he used laughter to keep them dudes up off of him. So I guess if it can work for jail, it's going to definitely work within a marriage.
Right. And then if you find yourself where you have nothing to laugh about, that's a sad situation, because it would be hard to be in that marriage because you don't have any laughter. Because sometimes the pretty is gone, the handsome is gone, the money is gone, the like the power is gone. So sometimes you need to laugh, even if you have to laugh at yourself. Okay, I can definitely agree with that. Now, you were speaking earlier about the differences that are between you two, and this is not necessarily a holiday question, but it does play in, because if this is not covered during the holidays, you're not going to have a fun holiday time. There was an article I was reading that said that generally speaking, in a marriage, a lot of women go into marriage believing that they can change the man, and a lot of men go into marriage believing that they won't have to change. How do you two, who are being different from the onset, how do you navigate the compromise to do what's best for the relationship and for the other person? I guess we agree to disagree. Not knowing it, not really knowing it in the beginning, not knowing that, because I never went in it to change him. I just wanted to see a change in him as far as a relationship with Christ. So so I never wanted to change him. I just wanted his relationship with Christ to be a closer walk. Okay. So I never did that, and he never tried to change me. But he also always told me that I'm not going to change who I am, and I appreciated that.
Yeah. Rich?
Yeah, it's the same with me. Yeah.
So that's so. I'm sorry, I cut you off there. Go ahead.
Oh no. It's just like she said. It's the same with me, and it's like, but in that aspect, we do change a little bit for each other,
right,
to make it better. So it's not it's an uphill battle. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
But it's a good one.
A good uphill battle. Yeah. Okay. Builds all those character muscles within yourself.
Right.
Okay. So now, since we're on the kind of on the topic of compromise and on the holiday season here, how do you, especially during the holiday season, because a lot of times that's one of the big money issues in relationships that can happen that way, not just romantic ones, in any relationship. If there's not enough money to get things done, especially at the holidays, seems like a little bit more stressful time. So how do you handle those stresses, those financial stresses, those just different personality stresses, especially during the holiday time when it seems like they're a little bit more amplified because of things you may want to do from a good place that you may or may not be able to do? How do you handle those stresses in general, especially around the holiday time?
Well, I can honestly say we really don't stress about money. Either we have it or we don't. We pretty much know what we're going to do, and even though we don't combine everything that we do, we are aware because of our conversation of what each of us are doing. So this is these are the things that I need to do, and these are the things that he says these are the things that I need to do, and we just know that there's not going to be a keyload of cash
Right.
available at that time for anything outside of that.
And Richard?
Yes, it's during those times, it's like I started looking at what we got before the holidays and see what can be set aside and what needs to be done, and we'll go from there. And we've been working pretty good in every holiday season. Plus, a drink will help too with the get everything settled.
Yeah, you gotta lubricate those areas that may be a little dry during the holiday season or during any time when you're not agreeing with one another. Okay, I can get with you there. I was thinking of a question that I was gonna ask you that now I'm kind of blanking on it. What was that question? What the heck was that question? It was just in my mind when you were talking, but okay, huh? It was something about let's see, about goals, and I'll think of it. It'll come to me like it always does. So okay, so we covered a good portion of the holiday season. We covered a lot of things that we're thankful for in regard to over the 2018 year and even going into 2019. We've covered some of the Christmas things that we wanted to cover. We covered the best gift. We covered the worst gift. Covered a good number of questions here. We covered if you could speak to the past you. If you could speak to, this is along those same lines. If you could speak to yourself from 10 years ahead here, what questions do you think you would want to hear from yourself in the future, your future self? 10 years ahead, that puts us at 2029, is that? Yeah. So if you could speak to yourself from 2029, what do you think? And I won't give you a limit. What do you think the questions you would ask yourself would be?
Oh, wow.
There we go. A good one. Finally, I stumped you.
Yeah.
A good question.
I really don't know.
That was Valencia.
Yeah.
That's a long ways away, 20 years.
Yeah.
And we're both aging gracefully.
Right.
So I want to say 20 years from now.
10 years from now, 2029.
Okay, 10 years from now. Even that is a ways away. So that's a hard question.
I know it's a hard one. I'll let you think more about it.
Okay, ask me again.
I'll ask you again. Richard, I'll let you answer while she thinks about her answer.
Oh, I don't know, really.
You can ask yourself any question, just imagining who you are. Of course, we don't know. We can't predict what the world will hold for us in 10 years. But if you had to say, in 10 years, I want to ask this question. Like for me, I know I would like to ask, did I get my house? Did I buy the house? Because I've been looking for a house, and what did I name the little girl, little lady face? What the heck did I name her? Those are questions I know I would want to know definitely if I had the opportunity to speak to myself. I'd also ask, did you put some money away? Did you do some of the things that we talked about earlier?
Okay,
Right.
that's good.
Those are good questions. So I'll ask you again. If you could speak to yourself.
I can speak to myself.
Yeah, in
I'm
10
like,
years' time.
Girl, why didn't you hold on to some money?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you make better plans for retirement?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm very near to retiring, and I'm very far from retirement money. So that would be one of the major things that I would ask.
You would ask, what did you do at this point to get us to where we need to be there, and
Right.
are we
You didn't
there?
do a thing. Not true.
Yeah.
You didn't do enough.
Right.
Well,
Why didn't you do enough?
Are you assuming that you didn't do enough, or?
No, I already know I didn't do enough.
Well, I mean, maybe you can ask her like what happened during retirement. She can tell you a great story of how to get to where you need to be.
If the only way she could do that, John, is if she said, "You won megabucks without playing."
Well, that would be good to know how to do that. That'd be a good answer.
I just don't see where that, because that would be the only thing I'm not concerned about anything else, because God is in everything, even the money. But I'm just saying I would say to myself, why didn't you plan better? Because I had lots of jobs, I had little money, but I've always been very good with my budget always, because I was a single parent for a very long time, and I had to learn how to stretch my money. So I just didn't do it right in enough time.
Okay.
And that's what I would say to myself.
You would ask yourself those questions about, what did I do if I did reach the level that I want, and if I didn't reach the level, what are my options?
Yeah. What now, girlfriend? What are you gonna do now? Because now I'm not. 10 years from now, I'm not going to be working. So now I fall back on, well, I go back to work in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? But then I would not be doing that.
Okay. And Richard?
Okay. With mine, it's like, why didn't you go back to school and finish your degree?
That too, me too.
Yeah.
Because I got an associate's degree in retail management, and that was only a year course, but I stayed another year to help with the kids coming in and everything. So that's how I got to the school. So that's the number. Why didn't I go back to school, either for my degree or possibly going back to being a teacher or something like that?
Okay. So you would speak to yourself assuming that you didn't go back to school in the 10 years, and you would ask yourself, what happened? We're 10 years ahead now. Why didn't we do these things that we talked about?
Right.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good, pretty interesting there. Like I said, 10 years is a long time. I said in a previous podcast, I had difficulty thinking about 5 years ahead. I don't know, just because it seems like so much can happen in a 5-year span, and you never know. And then I heard a post. I know this is not holiday related, but it's still on the same trend here. I heard a post that said that in regard to black men specifically, it's difficult to forecast on the future because we spend so much time on the defense, expecting things to fail, expecting things not to work out as we plan, and preparing for that so we can make our next move in a different direction. And I thought, well, okay, maybe there's some validity to that. I don't know. But it's good to at least every now and then just speculate what would 10 years look like. We don't know. For all we know, somebody in the family could come up with money. We don't know. So anything could be different. That'd be great. Anything could be different for over the 10 years here. Let's see. What do we have on our list here? The gifts ones, that one there. Oh, that was it. Okay, so now, in your 2018, now that we're officially, as of today, in 2019 here, the goals that you have set in 2020, let's go even further back. From the time that you guys became a committed couple, so that could either be from the time you agreed to start dating or the time you got married. You can start from either point there. Do you feel like the goals that you have set since that time have been more fulfilling because you have found someone to share your world essentially with? And in what way, in regard to before you guys met? So the goals that you had before you met, you met them or you didn't meet them, and then you get married or you start dating and you get married, and then you set goals as a couple or individually with a person to support you. Do you feel it's more fulfilling? Why or why not?
Okay, I would say no, because
not more fulfilling.
I would say that he didn't have any thing to do with me changing my goals. It's just that I got relaxed.
Okay.
And so I didn't go for them as much. I've always been a go-getter when it comes to something, and I didn't go from that as much because I was laid back, because I knew that I had somebody to help me with the financial piece, which is the reason why I was doing a lot of the things I was doing.
Right.
So I didn't really go for him. So it's not that he had anything to do with it. Meeting him made a difference in my financial, the things about me financially, because now instead of having one check like I always had, I had two,
Gotcha.
So I had somebody to work with me on it. Before I never had that.
Okay.
And so that, not that he changed anything, I just got comfortable.
Okay. So of since the time that you've been together, any goals that you have set, would you say that they have been more fulfilling or they have been about the same?
They've been easier.
Easier. Okay. In what way? Or just how you said, just because with the support financially and the person?
Because I didn't really have to worry about something. Like sometimes it was such a stressful thing because I knew that there was no wiggle room.
Right.
he made that possible,
Okay.
giving me wiggle room, because sometimes I could say, look, this is what's going on.
Right.
And he was like, oh, we got that. We're going to work that out, you know.
Okay.
And not that I was dependent on him for that.
Right.
Because I was always a woman who had to take charge, again, going back to the being a single parent. So it was easier, and it was my own fault that I didn't do it better by myself when it came to my personal goals, because I got comfortable.
Okay. And Richard, same for you. Heavy question there. In your personal life, both pre and post relationship, would you say that the goals are about the same, or rather, not the goals themselves, but your perception of them goals and meeting them and the satisfaction of having achieved them were increased, decreased, or stayed about the same pre and post the relationship?
I'd say they stayed about the same. I think I achieved one goal. We got into our house.
Okay.
We were living in two
separate apartments.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when we got together, so that was a big goal for us right there.
Okay.
So I guess it's fulfilling that way.
Okay.
In that aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought about that question is because I've always found that in regard to setting goals pre-relationship, I would set a goal and I never thought much about it because I knew I could meet the goal, so it wasn't a big deal. Even if I had met the goal, it wasn't necessarily more fulfilling or less. I always believed I could do it, so meeting it was not a big thing. But to have the chance to have somebody that you love and care about and believe in be with you while you strive for these goals, and they see the rough times and the good times and the bad times, and they can say to these goals, I remember when you first started out and you didn't believe in it, and we would study at this time, or we would save money for this portion of it. I found it to be, in that regard, more fulfilling to what you were saying, Mom, about having someone to give you a reprieve from that constant push that you had, like the uphill journey where you constantly had to push. For someone to give you a reprieve, either financially or emotionally, where you can just stop.
Because you don't have to think about it.
Right. You can stop and you can look over your surroundings and you can say, okay, I've made a lot of progress, and this is the direction that we should go now, versus taking the approach where I have to keep moving, because I have to keep moving. I can't afford to stop and look around. I have to pick away kind of quickly and move toward it. So I think that those are pretty good standpoints here. In terms of relationship, because it gives you focus. Not that you didn't have focus before, but it allows you to zoom in on the goal versus just kind of skimming by and saying, well, that's what we're going for. So it's a good thing to have a relationship where you feel comfortable enough to, number one, share your goals, but to number two, have someone to push for the goals with you. So we have reached the point where I've asked all of the questions that I had on my list, and even a couple questions that I formulated since we've been here talking here. So what I'll do at this point is 2019 is now upon us, so I'll give the opportunity for one or both of you to give your closing thoughts on the holiday season this year, and maybe what you hope for 2019.
The holiday season this year was good. I was disappointed that Eli was sick and he had to open up his gifts later.
Right.
For Thanksgiving, it was a letdown because we really made it like it was not a big deal that you guys came over. And so nobody came over, but we cooked like a ton of food for Thanksgiving. So that was kind of a letdown that I'm just speaking on.
Okay.
But it was, we had food, but then you all came over and had food later, but it wasn't the same, not on the same day. We kind of like chillaxed on Christmas, so that was nice. But going forward, the plan is just to always keep in touch. And one of the things that I want to do better is keep in touch with my oldest grandson, because I don't think that we do that enough. He feels like misplaced.
Yeah.
He's like I wish I could. He's always saying that, and I like to be able to have him come or speak to him more often, or just be around him. I so enjoy my family that I want to be instrumental in maybe picking up where Eva, because she was saying at the last party that she's getting older and she's not able to do it. I like to be able to work with some of you young millennials to get something started. I don't want it to die, because that's one of the favorite things I like to do during the holidays, is to spend time with family and the people that I love, and the people that I love are my family.
Okay. Richard, any final thoughts for 2019, or final thoughts for 2018 holiday season, and your focus for 2019?
Yeah. As for the holidays, we got to do a lot better at communicating with our kids and everything. Because just like Johnny said, that Thanksgiving, I wanted everybody to come over because I did a mean turkey on the grill, and I wanted everybody to see
awesome.
that.
It was like picture perfect.
Yeah.
And deliciously tasty.
And the Christmas party, it was good, but it was always better than that. So we got to work on that Christmas party also, and also being in contact with my sisters more often than usual, and my nephews down there.
Okay.
Even though they're not, what can I say? They're in their old ways, so I just go with
right.
Stay in and say hello, give a quick hug, kiss, and keep on going.
Right.
But they're still in contact more than what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Like I said, we've extended, exhausted, rather, is a better word, all the questions that I have here. I thank you both again for indulging me with part of my little project here, doing the podcast, Some Roses Are Red. I imagine that, as I said about the 4 other people that I've had on the show previously, I'll be inviting these people back many more times to talk about a myriad of topics. Not necessarily relationships, but a bunch of different things, because it's good to have, as I said about Erica and Delvis, resources or pools of information that you can draw from. And I think that these 2 people, not just because I've known them for so long, are great resources for information that I think will be a help not to just me, but for people who just want to hear a different perspective on something. So I think that's a good call. So I thank you again for coming in and supporting me. And unless you have any other thoughts, we are good to go.
My thought is, can I have some water the next time I have this podcast?
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, thank you guys again.
Thank you for having us.
Next time on Some Roses Are Red. In our studios, we have Daryl and Andrea.
So professionally, I own 2 businesses. One I've had for about 17 years.
Okay.
But it's not fulfilling.
Okay.
And so the beginning of the year, I started growing another business that I chose to start it as a way to kind of get out of my own head, meet new people. It's a business that I love.
When you first said that, I'm like, man, you're gonna make me throw somebody under the bus. I got a pretty horrible sweater one time.
Oh.
And I get a lot of sweaters.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening to this, you gave me a sweater, it's probably not you.
Yeah, probably not.
Because if you just kind of want it, it's something that you like to do, you're not going to do it, I can guarantee it.
7977.